At nearly 40 meters deep, the outline of a forgotten Byzantine church begins to appear.
These ruins date back to the 6th century, when this coast was still alive with worship and trade.
Earthquakes and rising seas claimed the church centuries ago.
The altar still rests where ceremonies once took place.
Religious artifacts remain, preserved by time and silence.
Without a roof, the sanctuary became part of the sea. Icons once stood here, guiding the faithful.
Even now, the ruins are not empty.
The ancient structure has become shelter for modern life. Faded inscriptions still whisper the language of Byzantium.
Beyond the altar, the church's outer structure continues to collapse under centuries of pressure.
Stone floors fractured as the coastline slowly sank beneath the sea.
Objects once used in sacred rituals now rest untouched.
Larger deep-sea species patrol these ruins in silence.
The arches show signs of violent seismic collapse.
This basin once marked new beginnings.
The roof shattered and settled across the seabed.
Encounters here are unexpected, but rarely hostile.
Faith remains carved into the very stone. What was once sacred ground now belongs entirely to the sea.
The outer walls reveal how the sea steadily pulled the structure apart.
This doorway once led worshippers inside.
Simple objects like this once lit the church interior.
The ruins now serve as territory for deep-sea dwellers.
Faint traces of decorative mosaics still survive.
Even the internal supports could not resist time. Offerings and storage vessels remain where they were placed.
Movement here often comes without warning.
Names and prayers were etched directly into stone.
Each section reveals another layer of a lost sacred place.
The apse marks where the heart of the church once stood.
This pedestal likely supported a sacred relic.
Iron fittings survived, but only just.
Large deep-sea fish move freely through the ruins.
The columns fell together as the structure collapsed.
Scripture was once read aloud from this spot. Debris blankets the church floor like sedimented history. Not every presence here reveals itself fully.
Every surface shows the wear of centuries underwater.
The deeper they go, the quieter the past becomes.
The church perimeter shows how the land itself gave way to the sea.
Passageways collapsed into tight stone corridors.
Metal chains still rest where they fell centuries ago.
Sudden encounters can be startling in low visibility.
The visitor passes without aggression.
Early builders used iron to hold these walls together.
Fragments of daily church life remain scattered below. Fragments of daily church life remain scattered below.
The ruins are part of a larger deep-sea ecosystem. The ruins are part of a larger deep-sea ecosystem.
Symbols survive, even when nearly erased.
Layer by layer, the submerged church tells its story.
Beyond the main structure, darker sections remain unexplored.
Collapsed walls created narrow spaces beneath the ruins.
Fragments of sacred containers remain trapped in place.
Tight spaces often conceal unexpected occupants.
The encounter ends as quietly as it began.
Stone seating once lined the church interior.
Even small details survive the collapse. Large fish now move through these spaces freely.
Decoration once added beauty to these walls.
The deeper sections feel increasingly isolated from the surface world. The rear sections show the greatest damage from centuries underwater.
These alcoves once held sacred objects.
Only the base of this candlestick remains.
The deeper ruins are closely watched by their new inhabitants.
The fish shows no aggression and moves on.
Secondary altar structures remain barely recognizable.
Collapse reshaped the church floor.
Movement in the ruins is constant, but subdued.
Some inscriptions are nearly lost. This far from the entrance, the church feels abandoned, even by history.
At the rear, a small chamber comes into view. This space may have served a special purpose.
Parts of a reliquary rest undisturbed.
The chamber is already occupied.
The encounter ends without confrontation.
Stone shelving suggests stored relics or texts.
Many wooden objects have long since decayed.
Even here, sacred symbols remain.
The deepest parts of the church feel completely remolded from the world above.
Leaving the chamber, the scale of the ruins becomes clear again.
Massive columns broke apart under their own weight.
Only fragments remain of objects once heard above water.
In low visibility, movement can appear suddenly.
The ruins quickly return to stillness.
Stone thresholds still define the church's layout.
Sediment settled where walls once stood.
These structures are now part of the deep-sea habitat.
Even fine stonework survives beneath the growth.
After centuries underwater, the church endures in silence.
These markings confirm the vessel's origin and identity.
The remains of the crew serve as a solemn reminder of the deep-sea tragedy.
The weaponry remains intact, but heavily corroded after decades underwater.
Even the deck artillery tells the story of conflict, frozen in time.
Personal belongings survived the decades, offering a glimpse into life aboard the vessel.
The conning tower rises like a ghostly sentinel in the depths.
Inside, the machinery lies abandoned, frozen by time and salt.
The crew members' uniform and insignia remain faintly visible despite decades underwater.
Even small artifacts like this life preserver tell the silent story of survival and loss.
The submarine rests in solemn silence, a monument to history and the deep-sea abyss.